Welcome back to another quality video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com. In this video, we'll show you how to remove and replace the heating element on this Whirlpool electric dryer. Stop. Before beginning any repair, always be sure to disconnect power to the appliance. It is also recommended to test the outlet for proper voltage. You will need the following tools to complete this repair. To begin this repair, we will remove the top panel. The panel is held in place by two metal tabs. Use a painter's tool to depress the tabs and release the panel. Next, open up the door, lift up the top, and lean it back against a wall. With the top lifted up, we can remove the front panel. To begin, disconnect the door switch Molex, located on the front right. Use your painter's tool or a flat blade screwdriver to pry apart gently, then pull it apart. Next, there are two 5/16 inch screws that must be removed, one on either side. Support the cabinet when removing the second screw so the panel does not fall forward. With the screws removed, lift up and out to remove the panel and set it aside. To remove the bulkhead, disconnect the moisture sensor wiring connectors by pulling straight off. Next, remove the 4 1/4-inch screws around the perimeter. Loosen the 2 1/4-inch screws on either side of the top. Finally, lift the bulkhead up and off the loosened screws, gently lower the drum into the machine, and set the bulkhead aside. With the front bulkhead removed, we now have access to the belt. We've removed the rear panel so you can see, but this step is done by reaching in through the front. Reach under the drum and grasp the idler pulley. Pull it up and to the right to relieve the tension on the belt. Slide the belt off the idler and the motor pulley. From the top, lift the belt up and slide it out and off the drum. Now, grasp the drum and lift it out of the dryer. With the drum removed, we can start removing the heating element by pulling off the wire connectors attached to the components on the heater case. On this connector, there is a tab which must be pressed toward the back of the machine to release it. Next, remove the 1/4-inch screws holding the case together, including the top screws of each component attached to the case. move on to the 2 screws on the front bracket. With the screws removed, lift up on the front bracket and pull it out. Lastly, we'll move on to the 2 screws close to the wall of the machine. With all of the screws removed, pull slightly up and then out to remove the entire heater case. Now, pull the heater case apart, unsnap the tabs of the heating element to remove it, and set it aside. To install the heating element, place the 2 tabs into the slots provided on the heater case. You may have to flex the case temporarily to get the tabs to seat properly. Next, place the 2 halves of the case together, making sure to line up the tabs with the slots. Now, reinstall the screws, including the screws that hold the components to the case. With the heater case assembled, guide it into the vent in the back of the dryer. When installing the front bracket, make sure to line up the large tongue with the slot provided on the heater case, as well as the small tab on the bottom and the slot in the floor of the cabinet. Once the tabs are in place, install the 2 screws on the bracket. Install the wiring connectors for the heating element and other components. Now, we can reinstall the drum. When installing the drum, take note that the lip of the drum must rest on the rear drum rollers. Slide the drum in and rest it on the rollers. Spin the drum a few times to make sure it's properly seated and none of the felt is squeezed or warped. Drape the belt over the drum and slide it into the same position it was in previously. Reach under the drum and lift up the idler pulley. Loop the belt under it, then put the loop around the motor pulley. Now we can reinstall the front bulkhead. To install the bulkhead, line up the blower housing and swing the top into place while lifting up on the drum. Rest the drum on the rollers and turn the drum to ensure it is properly seated. Now, hang the top of the bulkhead back onto the loosened screws and tighten the screws down. Then install the 4 screws located around the bottom perimeter. Finally, reconnect the wiring to the moisture sensor. Now, we can reinstall the front panel. To install the front panel, bring it into place and set the bottom into the tabs on the dryer. Swing the top of the panel into place and start one of the 5/16" screws. Next, install the other screw. Finally, reattach the door switch molax. Now we can reinstall the top. Before laying the top back down, Make sure neither of the clips has fallen out. If they have, simply squeeze to compress the tab and reinsert it into the slot. Next, with the door open, bring the top down into place and apply pressure to lock it into the clips. Close the door, and this will complete your repair. Thanks for watching. If you found this information helpful, please like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel.